Hello, I'm Johnny Rowland, your host of The Shooting Show. We certainly want to welcome you to today's program. Friends, we're so glad to be with you. You know, our program is about explaining how we as responsible Americans, how we as decent citizens treat and handle firearms. And you know what? I was talking to someone a few days ago about saying, well, what can we do? What can we do? Well, we have to keep our information going out because you know what, friends? I honestly, if things go along proceeding as they are now, I don't know how much time we have left. This is a chance we simply cannot afford to take, and that is not getting our information out to as many people as possible. We need to buy more TV time. There are a lot of things we need to do. We have got to reach more people. We've got to reach more Americans with our message about why we have firearms, why our Constitution has confirmed the right of we as citizens, not police, not military, not National Guard, but we as citizens to keep and bear arms. You know, right now, someone sent a newspaper article. This is from the Denver Post. This is from February 22nd of this year, just a couple of weeks ago. The Denver Post. Now listen at this. The headline says, "Under the gun," from in the perspective section, Section J. Listen, friends, it says here, hunters call a boycott over seizure rule. Now, you're not going to believe this is happening in the United States. Listen, by Penelope Purdy, says some gun owners want hunters nationwide to boycott Colorado because of a Denver ordinance. Critics say the city's public nuisance rule outlaws possession of any firearms, making criminals out of hunters, target shooters, collectors, and other law-abiding citizens. Wait a minute. The last time I checked, Denver was still in America. Whoa, 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 what's happening here? It says here, Denver's ordinance also lets the city seize cars or houses where guns are found. That's what it said. Cars or houses. It says the confiscations are possible even if all criminal charges are dropped because the standard of proof is lower in civil court than in criminal cases. The city thus could take private property worth tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. I tell you what, friends, this is crazy. It's insane. In Denver, Colorado, you know, Colorado talks about how much Colorado gains. It's hundreds of millions of dollars from hunters from out of state buying tags. It says here, the controversy may spread statewide. Hunting and fishing bring Colorado $1.7 billion annually, with hunting accounted for about $850 million, the State Division of Wildlife estimates. So guess what? It says hunting, fishing, and watchable wildlife programs pump $2.6 billion into Colorado yearly, making wildlife a bigger state industry than skiing. And here the folks in Denver are going for confiscation? Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, in California, they're up to their old tricks again. This is the SKS semi-automatic rifle. It has a fixed 10-round box magazine. This is one of the best deals on semi-automatic sporting rifles or whatever you want to use it for, because the Second Amendment's not about sport. But now they're talking confiscation of SKS. Doesn't have a detachable magazine, friends. You know, roughly equal a little bit less than a .30-30 in power. Confiscation here in the United States. Okay, what we're going to do about it? A lot of things we can do. We better start writing those letters, better start making those phone calls. And let me tell you what, I want to compliment the North Georgia Gun Owners Association because, you know, here's a few people doing what they can. They have a great quote here on the February 1998 issue. It says here, whatever you do will be insignificant. That's you as an individual. It may be insignificant, but it is very important that you do it. That you do it. And that is from Mahatma Gandhi. And I tell you what, that old boy there, he freed his whole country from England. He freed his country because he asked his people, even though the individuals couldn't do a whole lot, He asked them to do what they could. That's it, friends. If we just do what we can. I was talking with our good friend Joe from Urban Wood Products, and we were talking about, you know, he says, these goofy gun legislation ideas that come up, they come from the same small, tiny number of people. There are 70 million gun owners that we know of in the United States, friends, and a handful of people that want to disarm us. How in the world are 70 million people being wagged around here by a small percentage of people? How is this happening? How are we letting it happen? You know what? You can see an indication of just how it's happening by going down to your gun shop or going to the hunting camp or calling some of your hunting buddies and say, hey, do you get the news? Are you aware of what's going on? Do you know about these things that are happening? A whole bunch of them will say, well, I don't have time to watch TV. I don't have time. I don't listen to the radio. I don't have time to read the newspaper. I don't have time to read the Gun Owners of America literature or the NRA literature. I don't have time for all that. Guess what, friends? And these people are going to say, if and when, and they're already doing it, talking about going house to house, talking about it in California, I promise you, when the owner of an SKS, some deer hunter out there who has not taken the time, who has chosen not to get involved, they come to his home and said, hey buddy, you got an SKS, we're here to pick it up. He's going to say, golly, nobody told me that I was going to lose my gun. My gosh, friends, that's why we're here. We're trying to tell as many people as possible, this is not in the future somewhere, it's here now. You can lose your home in Denver for just having a gun in your house. That's what it says, what the paper says. This is insane. It is insane. The only way it's going to be stopped is that if we stop it. You know, friends, we are in a sorry shape here in the United States when we have complete lack of moral leadership in the highest office in the land. And the way he got there is because not enough of us as American citizens were willing to go to the time and trouble and find out what it was about and support somebody decent. Now that's why we have the trash we have in Washington, D.C. We can turn this thing around, friends. There is not time to waste. There's not time to say, well, we'll have to think about what we're going to do. We're going to have to get up a committee here, and next year sometime. You know, I've talked to so many companies in the gun industry, and a lot of them are flatly not, you don't have to worry. The gun industry, so many of these folks are just manufacturing people. They're not interested. They don't care. They're not going to help us to the extent they should. A lot of them are just plainly afraid. We appreciate all the industry support we can possibly get, but the reason you don't see massive numbers of people here supporting this project from the gun industry is because they're afraid to. They're afraid to stand up and be counted because they're afraid of the consequences of what the government might do. The other side of the coin is a lot of them, a whole bunch of people, as amazing as this is, a lot of the people in gun manufacturing simply are not sure where the bullet comes out of the barrel. Now, if it wasn't so serious, it is laughable. I call these people, and we talk to these people in offices, and I say, well, when's the last time you went shooting? Oh, well, I did when I was a kid 30 years ago. Friends, I promise you, somebody that builds computers, they got a computer at home. I mean, trust me. Well, how in the world we got saddled with people in the gun industry that don't shoot guns? Darndest thing I've ever seen. Someone at a major distributor told me this past week that he said there was a big meeting, a national meeting of gun distributors and people in the industry, between 400 and 500 people. And they had a real good speaker. They were talking about what's going on in the gun industry, what the situation is, and how can we do something to change it. Okay, the speaker gets up and he says, ladies and gentlemen, said, you know, I love to play golf. I love to play golf. He says, all you folks in here, says, everybody that loves to go out and play golf and you play a lot, said, raise your hand, raise your hand. Okay, not me, but they said, raise your hand. He said about 4 out of that 500 people all raised their hand. Everybody just smiling, everybody's so happy. And he says, great, okay, put your hands down. He said, now then, everybody who just loves to go out and shoot their guns, everybody just loves it and go out shooting pretty much, you know, just as often as they can. Just they look forward to doing it. Go out and shoot their guns. Everybody raise their hands that are shooters. A half dozen people out of 500 raise their hand. Now, that's part of the problem we have in the industry. So, you know what? That's why we on the Shooting Show, you know, someone asked me the other day, said, Johnny, they wanted to join our support group. They said, well, it's not really a gun-related thing. I don't care. I flatly don't care, friends. We don't care. If you got an ice cream shop, if you got a flower shop, if you build ships, if you have a power company, if you have a saddle shop, if you shoe horses, I don't care. If you can help us stay on the air here on this Shooting Show, please, friends, please support our sponsors. It is absolutely crucial that they get some response to stay with us. Please, of course, you can't get better prices on ammunition than Georgia Arms. Nobody else in the country is even coming close to offering the products that NWI does on its machine gun conversions. Nobody's even close. But also the folks in our support group, please support them if you can. And if you can contribute to keep us on the air, that's how we're here today. That's how we're here, because of your contributions along with our sponsors. The contributions are extremely important. Whatever you can do, if you can join our support group, that'll be great. If you can get in that group, just to cost a little bit every month, we really would appreciate it. You can send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowlands Road in Dumberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. You can call us and talk to us about it. Friends, it is critical. Our phone number is area 318-377-5189. Please, please do what you can. We have a great show for you today. We have a lot of things we're going to be covering, and in spite of the ridiculous situation regarding politics, we're going to have some fun today on the program. You know, this is a little Remington Nylon 66 22 rifle, and there's certainly a lot of fun to shoot. However, when the 22, you just don't think a 22 is quite enough, and you still care enough to send your very best, send them buckshot. 12 gauge buckshot. How about that?
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
period from 1885 through the start of World War I saw a flurry of activity throughout the industrialized world in the development of the infantry rifle. There were many competing designs, such as Mauser, Lee, Hotchkiss, Krag, Jorgensen, Lebel, Mannlicher, Viterli, Kropatschek, each with its own unique set of advantages and disadvantages. The adoption of any one particular design over another was as much caught up in questions of national pride as it was in superiority of design. Further, many of these designs went up dead-end streets as they were chambered for black powder cartridges, rimfire cartridges, had tubular magazines, or had some other problem. Some of these designs recovered from their problems and got back into the mainstream of development. Others never recovered and simply disappeared from the scene. Even worse, some of these weapons were adopted and issued by the nations involved before the design itself had reached its maximum potential. All of the designs we mentioned were basic variations of the turnbolt design, the idea for which came from the Mauser single-shot breech loader of 1871. By the start of World War I, almost all weapons that had been adopted were bolt action of one sort or another. They all used cartridges with smokeless powder and jacketed Spitzer bullets, and had some sort of integral magazine with charger loading. As a good generic representative of the bolt-action magazine rifle, we have picked the Pattern 17 Enfield. This rifle borrowed a little bit from the Lee, the Mauser, and a few other designs, and was to be, along with the new 276 Magnum cartridge, the British rifle for 1914. World War I put a stop to its issue. The tooling was transferred to the United States, and the rifle was made in .303 caliber for the British from 1915 until 1917, when we entered the war. The tooling was then converted to .30 caliber, and the rifle became general issue for U.S. forces in World War I. Most bolt actions were simple, yet robust. In order to operate, the firer grasped the bolt handle and lifted it, thereby unlocking the bolt. He then drew the handle to the rear, thereby extracting the cartridge in the chamber, and at the rear of bolt movement, ejecting the cartridge out of the weapon. If the rifle was empty, then the follower in the magazine would rise, blocking forward motion of the bolt and telling the shooter that he needed to reload the weapon. The shooter then took his magazine charger, normally a disposable stripper clip holding 5 rounds of ammunition, and placed it in a corresponding notch milled into the receiver bridge. He pressed all 5 rounds downward with his thumb and then discarded the stripper clip. Forward motion of the bolt would then pick up the top round in the magazine, driving it forward into the chamber. Downward motion of the bolt would then lock the weapon. Depending upon design, at some point during the lifting of the bolt handle or the forward motion of the bolt, the cocking piece and firing pin would be cocked and held by the sear. Upon pressing the trigger, the sear was depressed, the firing pin released to go forward and fire the cartridge. The shooter then grasped the bolt handle, lifting it upward, and the cycle started all over again. All bolt-action magazine rifles had some sort of adjustable sights. The most common were like this Mauser, an open sight mounted on the barrel. Though it is ballistically a very good sight, it is actually difficult for the shooter to use. Of the various designs, the best was a peep or aperture sight mounted on the receiver bridge. This placed it close to the shooter's eye, had the longest sight radius, and was the easiest for the shooter to recover his sight picture after he took his face away from the stock in order to work the bolt. In the case of the P-17, this sight was adjustable to 1,600 yards. Normally, however, a shooter was only trained to estimate the range to the target and independently fire at targets to 1,000 yards. Anything over 1,000 yards was normally volley fire with the range and the firing commands given by the squad leader or the platoon commander. In some armies, marksmanship training was given little attention. In others, rifle marksmanship was considered to be the primary soldierly quality. The British are a good example of this. They had learned their lesson in the Boer War, and in the early 1900s, their emphasis on marksmanship made them one of the better armies in the world. The U.S. Army also placed great emphasis on individual rifle marksmanship, and numerous marksmanship exchange programs had been engaged in between U.S. and British rifle clubs since the 1870s, and on an official basis between the armies from the 1900s. In fact, the first Wimbledon Cup was a rifle marksmanship award between the two nations. In those nations that did emphasize individual rifle marksmanship, the sling was not simply a carrying strap, as you use today, but served double duty to help stabilize the weapon during firing. The sling on this P-17 is of such a type. The shooter got into it like this. The sling helps steady the rifle prior to and during discharge, help reduce the movement of the weapon during recoil, and help the shooter reacquire the sight picture. This latter can be quite important. The reacquiring of the sight picture after working the bolt frequently took more time than the working of the bolt itself. You can see the advantage of the sling. The British Army in particular conducted a great deal of training on the manipulation of the bolt and reacquisition of the sight picture. We'll show you a P-17 in action against pop-up targets at 3 ranges and against a 4th stationary target at 680 yards. As you watch this, you'll note the shooter make a major error and then correct himself partway through. See if you can spot it. Before we go to the chart and compare the bolt action, what error do you think you spotted? In fact, the error was that when the shooter finished engaging the targets at 330 yards, which was at the edge of his battle sight range, he should have adjusted the sights before engaging the target at 680 yards. He fired his first shot without this adjustment, and the round hit well short. After adjusting the sight, he hit close to the target, though to one side. The wind was very, very heavy on the day that he was firing, and that miss was caused by wind drift. Though not shown on the tape, by the 5th round, he was putting the shots right in there. On the chart, it looks like this. The superiority of the bolt action over the single-shot breech loaders, and we're using the 1873 Springfield as a generic example, is quite obvious. Though the battle sight range on this P-17 was 370 yards, this could vary from one rifle cartridge combination to another to between 320 and 370 yards. The maximum adjust sight range could be 100 or 200 yards less, again depending upon the rifle and cartridge combination. Also remember that 1,000 yards did not represent the maximum distance that the bullet would travel. Firing in volley, effective fire could be delivered at greater ranges. In fact, British rifles before World War I had sight adjustments to 2,600 yards, and they regularly conducted volley fire training out to 1,900 yards. For volume of fire, you can see that the bolt action has roughly double the volume of the single shot. The bolt action's primary advantages in volume of fire are its magazine charging with the stripper clip and the relatively small motions that have to be made in order to reload the rifle. This volume of fire for the bolt action on the chart assumes recovery of the sight picture and taking a few seconds per round to aim precisely at one of the longer range targets. At closer ranges, such as 150 yards or less, where precise sight picture was not all that important, recovery after recoil was much faster, and the volume of fire would frequently go up to 20 rounds per minute. The effect of this drastic increase in both volume of fire and combat range in just a few short years is almost legendary. The trench warfare of World War I was a direct outgrowth of the bolt-action rifle, the water-cooled machine gun, and the new breed of artillery. Though you'll study World War I in great detail, suffice it to say that airplanes, mechanization, radios, and a number of other things had not yet appeared. These would help redress the balance and make the offense equivalent in strength to the defense. Without these things, World War I became stagnant. The no man's land between the two lines was very appropriately named. Moving in the open in no man's land, facing an enemy armed with these bolt-action magazine rifles was risky business indeed.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, here it is, the great Georgia Arms ammunition. Notice these ballistic tip nozzler bullets in this Georgia Arms ammunition. You see, this is equivalent to a box of 20 for only $7.95. Now, friends, that is a terrific price for essentially custom-loaded ammunition. Of course, for the plain full metal jacket, it is much less expensive. Here's another tremendous bag of Georgia Arms ammunition, 7mm Remington Magnum, 20 rounds, only $17.95, loaded with these premium Nosler ballistic tips. I tell you, this is custom ammunition at a discount price. Hey, what, friends, the good people at Georgia Arms do understand what's going on in this country. They understand how important our gun rights are, and they're supporting us on this project. The good news is you can get absolutely superior ammunition at discount prices, whether you have a handgun or a rifle. If you want to take that big hunt, you can afford to practice with your rifle as well as use that same ammunition on the hunt because they are so reasonably priced. These are some of the nicest people we have ever met in this business, bar none, and they're down in beautiful Villa Rica, Georgia. So please, friends, if you would, you can get a free catalog with a free phone call. That's as good as the deal gets. A free catalog, free phone call, 1-800-624-6861. Again, Georgia Arms, 1-800-624-6861.
And we want to remind you, friends, they now have our 41 Magnum Defense Special Load in stock. They are shipping it. This is great stuff for your 41 Magnum revolver. Superior performance, but it doesn't have a severe kick as the full-powered Magnum loads. Okay, you can give them a call. Free catalog, free phone call, 1-800-624-6861, 1-800-624-6861. Please tell them you saw it here on our show. You know, friends, there's only one way that you become a better shooter, and that's simply just to go out and practice with whatever gun, whether it's a semi-automatic pistol, a revolver, or a rifle, or shotgun, anything. It takes some practice. You're also going to find it's a lot of fun. And be sure and wear eye protection and hearing protection. Yeah, we had an 8-round Wilson magazine in our IAI Model 5000 here. Let's try our GP100 just for fun, since we're here. And you know what, friends? If you go out and shoot your gun, and a lot of us are going to be using target type ammunition, lead ammunition, guess what? Your gun's going to get dirty. And for them to function like they're supposed to, even the best ones, even the 1911s, even the Ruger GP100s, they still have to be periodically cleaned in order for them to function. Well, we had some requests to show some proper ways to clean handguns, and let's do that right now. Well, friends, as we said on the range there a little earlier, for our guns to function, they have to be reasonably clean. And who knows, you may get in a situation sometime you had to shoot a lot and you get it really dirty, so you don't want to start out with it really dirty if you're really going to depend on your gun. This is our Ruger GP100, and we'll take a closer look in a moment. It's got a lot of soot, and realize in target shooting, a lot of us are going to be shooting lead bullets, and you're going to have more of the soot and ash from shooting the lead bullets. One, you have lubricant on it, and lubricant is part of it, and of course you're going to have some leading, a little bit in the chambers, a little bit in the barrel, but we're going to show you how to get that out. So first of all, we'll get our table up here, like so, and as I'm sitting in this chair, this is my table, and it works just fine, and there's several things, and I will remind you, if you're carrying a heavy gun like this Ruger Red Hawk, you can put you some suspenders. You can get them at Walmart or Sears or wherever. Sears tool belt type suspenders, and you can carry spare ammunition and the other stuff you need to in these heavy guns, and it doesn't bind you so around your waist and let your shoulders take part of that weight, and that's what I've been doing today, is carrying this one. So anyway, moving right along, first of all, let me do a small mention here for fluid film, and that's what we're going to use to clean our guns with here today is fluid film, because honestly, and we've got some other stuff that's really a good cleaner, good lead remover, RB17, which is real good. But I'll tell you what, the fluid film attacks the crud. It goes to the metal. Tell you the truth, friends, we have never seen anything like fluid film. It's good as a cleaner. It is a superior lubricant. And it's just like there's fluid film, then there's all the rest of the other cleaners. And lubricants. We have never seen anything like it. And you know, you can buy a couple of cans from this from us here on the show. And this is a large can. This is normally the small can, the sample can that we sometimes show. But this is what we're selling. 2 of these large cans. It is environmentally friendly. Went through 1,200. Excuse me. Went through 1,298 hours assault spray test with very little corrosion, U.S. Navy test. It is absolute 1,200. Heck, that's good as stainless. Stainless won't do that. Of course, stainless will corrode too. A lot of people don't know that, but stainless will also, it looks a little different from regular rust, but stainless will corrode too. So we definitely need to protect our stainless guns as well as our blue ones. It's only $19.95 for 2 large 11 3/4 ounce cans here from us on the program, and you'd think that'd be enough to last for a long time, but what you're going to do is you're going to find so many uses for it. It's just fantastic. Put it on doors that you have a hard time opening. You can even blow this under your lawnmower pan, and you can cut wet grass and just blow it out. It's good on battery terminals. We use it on all our camera connections. It's good. Of course, we have showed our, I've got a holster here somewhere. We have showed how good it is on leather holsters and things. It's just off the chart. We have never seen anything like this. So we're going to be using fluid film. There's some other good cleaners out there. Like I said, there's just nothing we've ever seen as good as this, but this will be a good cleaner for the gun as well as a lubricant. It will certainly get in there between the parts. In fact, I heard from one of our viewers the other day, and he'd gotten some of this. And tell you who it was. It was Dennis Crocker, who has the firearms training. He's a firearms trainer. You see him in our support group, and he had ordered some of this. And he bought a little gun a while back that was kind of gummed up, and it was a 22 rimfire revolver, and it was snapping on. It wasn't firing all the cartridges, so he said, well, heck, had nothing to lose, had some fluid film out there on the range, so he sprayed it down in his action, and left it for a while, and then the gun after a while began to function normally, just like the old black powder gun. Here I had another lubricant that was pretty good. A lot of them out there are pretty good, but I had sprayed it down really good, and it had gummed up in my action. I went to cock the hammer, and it wouldn't even cock. Well, I said, well, what the heck? I sprayed some fluid film in it and left it a little while, and sure enough, the action began to work as normal. So it's amazing stuff, friends. That's all I can say. We appreciate our good friend Bill Lewis for helping us, introducing us to fluid film, and it helps. We make a little bit on this. It helps us stay on the air every little bit we sell. Okay. Now another thing, we're going to be, of course, using fluid film for cleaner, and I have some little flannel patches. Now then, if you clean guns a lot like we do here, because we shoot a little more certainly than a lot more than the average person, and we do a lot of cleaning, and it's expensive if you buy these patches ready-made in little plastic boxes. So what you can do is go to your discount house there and go back in fabric and material and get you some flannel, and then you can fold it over and cut it into little squares, and it's very inexpensive, and it's a really good gun cleaner. Heck, that's what a lot of the companies use is something similar to that anyway. So let's get started with our cleaning our GP100. We also have our Model 5000 from IAI in Houston, Texas, and you notice what I did. I took the magazine out first before I checked the chamber, and then I checked the chamber, and I pointed the gun over that way. Right now there's no one standing right there. So no, I didn't point the gun at anyone over there. We certainly always observe safety rules. There's no one right back over behind this remote camera. Okay, again, fluid film, same deal. It'll protect blued steel just as well as it'll almost make extinguish. You've got to go back and treat it occasionally, but it's the darndest thing we've ever seen. Anyway, and as I've often said, we check them 3 times, 2, 3. I want to be sure I can see in that chamber. I want to be sure that I saw what I thought I saw the first time, and just as a little fail-safe to check the other times I checked it, I'll check it again. Only takes a second. The revolver, the same trick. Check it, and to be sure, no chances. You know, friends, accidents can be prevented. They can be, and we just have to go to the time and trouble to do it. It's not that much trouble to properly check these guns. You know, we need to do some more programming. Sometimes we feature kids on the program. And you know, as shooters across the country, we're losing ground in the younger ages. Now, those folks in the government who want to disarm us, they know that they're not going to change my mind. And they're not going to change the minds of most of you watching. So what they've done, they're trying to make guns evil, starting in the school system, even preschool, by putting signs up, you know, with a circle and a slash through it. No guns, no guns. Well, honestly, friends, guns in school are not the problem. You have no one's watching after the children. No one is taking care of the children that bring guns to school. Years ago, it wasn't unusual for young men to take a rifle along with them to school, leaving the principal's office and go hunting after school. Take the gun with them on the bus. There was no trouble like that. But this is how far our society has deteriorated, what we're talking here. Okay, another thing that's really important is a good brand of paper towel. Now, this is a Scott towel, something like a Viva, actually. Job Squad, you can go and if you've got a little more money to spend, you can get a little better grade, an industrial strength paper towel, but the Discount House Better Towels work just about as well, and heck, we're going to use plenty of them, so we're looking for best prices. Another thing that's really handy, Q-tips for cleaning one of these things up. Just your basic old Q-tip. And also another really good thing is pipe cleaners. These things are as handy as they can be, friends. Pipe cleaners, all these things, and an assortment of small screwdrivers and punches and things like that. And let's get on the way. Let's start cleaning our really dirty GP100. We fired about 100 rounds of lead target ammunition through this gun, and normally it's pretty shiny, but you see it's got a good coating of crud on it there. Let's get started.
Stay tuned for more of the Shootin' Show after these important messages.
Now, friends, here it is. This is the great 1919 Browning converted to semi-automatic from the good people at NWI. This is your chance to own a real piece of history. They're very collectible. They're also a lot of fun to own and shoot, and very reasonably priced, certainly for what you get. The 1919 Browning is from NWI. That phone number, area 503-429-5001. They also have the ammunition special still going on. 30-06 ammunition, only 18 cents a round, surplus in the belt. So give them a call today. NWI for the great 1919 Browning conversion. Also remember, they have the A6 conversion with the shoulder stock and the bipod, but these are tremendous pieces of history, also great shooters. So give them a call today, the 1919 Browning from NWI, area 503-429-5001.
And friends, we want to remind you that NWI now has the Browning conversions in 50 caliber, and we hope to have one of these guns down here for demonstration at our Fun Gun Weekend. Trust me, these guns will not be available forever. They also have some terrific ammunition deals on 50 Browning ammunition, so please give NWI a call today, area 503-429-5001. Please tell them you saw it here on our show.
The Shootin' Show will be right back after this break for your local cable company or TV station.
Friends, as you can see, and I would like to mention I am wearing safety glasses because I don't want any of the lubricant or any of the brass brushes, anything to get in my eye at all. Anyway, you can see we've got a pretty dirty gun here, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to get a couple of paper towels up here. In fact, we'll go with the blue ones to make our light a little easier on the camera lens there. Get a couple of them here and put one here underneath the gun. Now then, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to completely clean this gun, I'm going to take a fluid in a little bit there, and I'm going to liberally spray it all over the gun, because I'm going to clean it really well. Spray back here on the breech face, certainly here. Spray it all on the sides. That's one of the great things about fluid film. Even if you have wooden grips, it'll polish the wood. It's really good for the wood too. But I want to spray it real well all over. I'm going to spray some down the barrel. Okay, I want a good liberal coating all over this gun. We spray it inside the cylinder here real well. We want to spray the bearing on the front of the cylinder where the cylinder turns on the crane there. Okay, got it good and coated. All right, great. Now then, reach over here and we're going to we have a brass brush, and this is a very important tool here, and I'm going to run it through the cylinder. I like to run it through about 4 times each one, like so. There we go, all 6 of them. Being careful not to let the steel rod here touch the sides or the cylinder walls. Now then, we have it well distributed. And let our fluid film give it a little time to work there, because it will really attack that grunge and all. Now then, this is really important. This, trust me, this is an important one. We're going to put our brass brush down our barrel, but you don't want at any time the steel rod to touch, especially the crown here on the end of the barrel. You don't want to let it touch. You want to hold it in the center and just push it on down. Alright, now we're going to pull it out, and gently. I don't want it to touch. That's really important, because I think I said on the program years ago, I ruined a K-22 Smith & Wesson because I'd shoot the gun and I'd go clean it. My goodness, it seemed like every time I cleaned it, it would shoot worse. And what I was doing, I was letting the cleaning rod wear against the crown on the barrel. Now we're going to be really careful here. I want to get a couple of good passes and just be careful. And this is, you don't want any lubricant off the brass brush here to get in your eyes. So anyway, moving right along. Now then, let's see what kind of progress we get. And another thing, one of the paper towels here is to wipe your hands on, because you're going to get oil and junk all on your hands. And do not eat anything or put anything in your mouth while you have this junk on your hands, because look, there's lead residue in this, and you don't want it to get in your system. Now then, we'll take some of our patches, and another something we can do, let's see, now to clean it, before I run anything down that barrel in cleaning, of course you want to get pretty energetic there in cleaning. This is a bore guide, this little thing right here, and this will prevent the rod from getting into, especially the barrel. I don't worry as much about it on the cylinder, but let's see what the fluid film has gotten now out of the cylinder. This is a little bronze or brass jag here. You can get them wherever cleaning supplies are sold for your gun. And we're going to run this white. Well, I think we're making some progress, aren't we? I believe we are. And just to get the most oil, I'll use a patch on a couple of different holes here, or sometimes even go to 3, because go ahead and get your initial one really saturated. Throw this over in the trash there. Okay, let's go for another. We've got to have plenty of cleaning patches. This is important. Now then, we're going to do this again, get the most of it out. Here we go. Good. Okay, we're looking good on there. Okay. Now you want it to be, if you've been shooting your gun, you can tell it's dirty. You want that dirt to come out, the crud to come out on the patches. So You may go through 6 or 8 or who knows how many patches, but you want them to be pretty clean. Another thing that's really important, you don't want any oil left inside this cylinder, because the way a cartridge works when it's fired, the brass case literally grabs the sides of the cylinder, and if you got oil in there, if it's too slick, it can't. It's going to put undue pressure back here on the breech face. Alright, still letting our fluid film work. Let's run one down the barrel and see how that looks. Alright, get it started there. Then put our bore guide in place. This will protect the crown on the muzzle there. Okay, get it down good. Gun right here and press it on down like so. Yes indeed, we're looking good. Now see here, that's a pretty dramatic amount of cleaning, I think. Let's do it again. Because remember, you won't get peak accuracy if you've got a dirty barrel. You got a lot of junk in your barrel. The bullet will not be grabbed properly. So here, we'll do this, push it on through. Now we're going to run it back and forth. And notice I'm holding the bore guide in place here. Run it back and forth a few times here. Now then, see, we're looking good. We're getting a lot of junk out of there, which we need to. Alright, now I'm going to wipe some of the excess oil off of the gun, and I'll show you a little trick. I've got some handy. Here we go. This is Quad Alt 0000 grade steel wool, and it's very, very fine, and if you have some powder stains or something, you can just pull it apart there. And go ahead and put oil on your gun, and then you can just gently buff it, and you don't want to get down in the surface, but you can buff it and clean the stains away with this Quad Alt. It's very fine. It won't hurt your finish on your gun. If you have oil on it, you can even use it on blued finishes. Just don't get overly excited with it. And go back and we just want to remove the stain, the excess, so we can kind of see what we're doing here. And get all this down. It just takes a minute. Real handy stuff here. Go ahead and wipe it there and go around the ejector star. Remember, you don't want any lubricant or anything. We'll do that in a second. You want to keep this clean under here. You want just a film, a light film of a lubricant all over the gun. Here we go. Set these over here. Let's get us another cleaning patch here. Now then, going to run back in the cylinder. Now then, we're getting less junk coming out on our cleaning rag here. We're doing good. That fluid film's really working. And the good news is you can wipe it off to the point that your gun will still work, but it will retain some lubricating properties.
And due to time limitations on today's show, friends, we'll come back and show you the outcome next week.
We want to remind you at Clark Custom Guns, May 16th and 17th, we're talking about this now because we want you to make your plans. Some people are going to make vacation plans around our Fun Gun Weekend. So, hey, we got to stay on the air so we can have our Fun Gun Weekend. I mean, we have to, friends. We absolutely have to. As I said during the first part of the program, if you know anybody that can help sponsor our program, or the next time you buy a product from a gun manufacturer or someone who is remotely related to even caring about what we do and getting our message out, please write them a letter, drop them a line, call them, do whatever, and ask them if they would please consider working with the Shooting Show. Friends, this has to be done. You know, if it weren't so serious, it'd be different, but it is serious. We're losing this battle every day on television. We've got to have, one, we've got to ensure the future of our shooting show, and two, we've got to have more time on TV. We have to, or we're not going to have any guns left. We want to recognize some of the good folks in our support group. Very important, our support group, because these are sponsors that don't have a lot of money to spend, but they're doing efforts on behalf of their business to help us stay on the air. We want to recognize our friends at Urban Wood Products. They have and manufacture quality hardwood doors. They're there in Bellsville, Ohio. Their phone number is area 740-926-1575. Again, 740-926-1575. And if you're around Bourbon, Indiana, you can go to the Back 40 Sporting Clays range. Larry and Karen Meister have that. You can call them for appointments there. Their number is area 219-342-4665. Again, area 219-342-4665. Also, if you're in South Carolina and you need firearms training, you can call our friend Dennis Crocker down there. He's authorized to go throughout South Carolina. His number is area 864-587-8722. Again, area 864-587-8722. We have a new member in our support group this week. It's Holland Guard Service with Wayne Bearden there. He's the operations manager, and he's in Meridian, Mississippi. And if you have any kind of security needs, they can help you out in that area. And his number is area 601-644-3950. Again, area 601-644-3950 for the Holland Guard Service. Certainly want to remember our good friends Dennis and Jeannie Ritchie with custom leatherwork and saddlery down in Denham Springs, Louisiana. Whatever kind of leatherwork you need, from shoe repair to holster repair to tack and saddle, whatever you need, they can do it. Area 504-667-9225. Again, area 504-667-9225. And the folks with Flying Horse Enterprises they've had such a response off our program that they have moved to a different website. And you can find them on the internet at www.flyinghorse.net. Again, www.flyinghorse.net. They have some wonderful artworks there, and we really appreciate their assistance. And also our friend Bruce Warren with BC Armory. He does all kinds of custom work on semi-automatics and revolvers. You can give him a call at area 616-729-5508. He's in East Leroy, Michigan. So some of our viewers up there in Bruce's area, again, area 616-729-5508. And Bruce will be at and have his guns on display at several events upcoming on May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. He'll be in New Tripoli, Pennsylvania at the East Coast Pen Challenge. It's going to be at the Second Chance Shoot in Central Lake, Michigan on June 12th and 13th and 14th, well, and 15th too. Also a couple of other events we'll be telling you about, so if you'd like to meet Bruce, you can at those. Friends, honestly, whatever you can do to help us stay on the air, that's how we're here today. This is important. This message does have to keep going out. We have to. If anybody you know that can help sponsor our program, or if you can contribute to help keep us on the air, please do. Very few people watching will make any contribution at all, but let me tell you, those contributions are so important to us. Please send whatever you can to the Shooting Show, 327 Irvin Rowland Road in Dubberly, Louisiana. The zip code is 71024. Our phone number, if you want to call us and talk to us, 318-377-5189. Also want to remind you, we have fluid film that we can ship out. This is the greatest lubricant we have ever seen. It's, friends, hang in there with us. We've got a long way to go. This has to be done. We've got to keep the Shooting Show on the air, and we certainly want to thank everyone who has contributed, and please, please do what you can.